depth is returning, bats are waking up, and you're getting to a point now, 6 games ahead of the New York Yankees in the American League, where I wonder what the internal conversation is if you're Dusty Baker. Do you keep riding this thing out? Do you try to be as hot as you possibly can going into the playoffs? Or do you look at some of the guys that you have on your team and start thinking to yourself, how can I give these guys rest? New York's playing well. You're still 6 games up with 20 games to go. So rest or rust? Do you have a preference?
I'm all rest.
You're all rest?
I am the load management millennial right now.
Okay, so I'm glad you answered it this way.
And I say this because, and here's my reasoning. We have not even mentioned Presley and Verlander's names in weeks because this team is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about the fact that their ace has had not a serious injury, but he has a history of injuries. He's out. I guess he was on the Astros flagship this morning. James Click was and said that they're on track. Ryan Presley. I mean, we're not even talking about that because the Astros seem to have a lot of depth. Now, there are exceptions to that when you look at Michael Brantley's injury and some of the moves that you wanted made at the trade deadline that were not made. So I'm on team rest. Todd Callis had a tweet last night. With loss last night by the Mariners, the Astros' magic number to clinch the AL West is down to 8. Magic number to qualify for playoffs is 4. Magic number for top AL seed is 14. So that 14 number is something to keep an eye on. Again, you want the bye, you want the 1 seed, et cetera, home field advantage. But, I think that you rest some of your guys as much as you can within reason.
I disagree. You got to be hot. And I'm surprised that you said this because
I know it's a failure on the old soul in me.
You're from Indianapolis.
I know.
You watched your cowardly Colts 14-0 rest their starters going into the playoffs, and what happened?
Yeah. I don't necessarily want to talk about it or else I'm going to vomit my Americano.
They lost.
Yeah, they did.
In case you forgot, the Colts lost that year where they could have gone undefeated. I thought it was one of the most cowardly moves in sports history. I'm a big believer. You catch lightning in a bottle going into the year. And again, you're playing scrub teams right now. Like the Detroit Tigers, how much stock do you put into what they're doing? But I think you keep these guys out there. This is what you're getting from Yordan Alvarez? I get it. Like, you got some concerns about whether or not he's 100%.
Football's different than baseball, though. And I say that because you only have one football game a week. So I agree with you. But like with baseball, they have so many games that you don't think that they can rest guys. I'm not saying until playoffs, but have them take off a day here and there. That's more of what I'm talking about.
I get what you're saying. Look, this is different, obviously. But at the same time, don't you feel like the team that gets hot the latest in baseball is the one that has the best chance to go in the playoffs? The playoffs are so weird.
That plus health, though. That's the key.
Well, go back a couple of years ago to when the Astros at the end of the year, they're sub 500. Did you expect them to go very far in those playoffs? And yet they still did. I don't know. I think that the fact that they had to claw their way into the expanded playoffs just to make sure that they're 100% in, I think that is something you look at and you say, hey, make sure that these guys continue to get their reps. You can put someone on ice, and the next thing you know, especially in this weird postseason where now it's like the NFL
Very
playoffs
quick.
used to be,
Yeah.
where you're going to have like a round where the Astros are just going to be sitting and watching. It's a couple of days. I don't know. I want these guys as warm as possible going into the postseason.